most Democrats and voters have come around to the idea that like MAGA is bigger than Trump. It's not, there's no reverting. Like there's really no evidence that anything is going back.
All right, we are back. Segment 3. She's a congressional correspondent for the New York Times and co-author of the brand new book, Madhouse, How Donald Trump, MAGA Mean Girls, a former used car salesman, a Florida Nepo baby, and a man with rats in his walls broke Congress. It's Annie Karni. Is Matt Gaetz the Nepo baby? Who's the Nepo baby?
The Nepo baby is Gaetz. His father was Don Gaetz, a powerful Florida state senator. But good job. Most people don't guess that.
Oh, yeah, no, I know Don. Me and Don go way back, actually. Boy, you can if you want to understand how Matt became Matt, you should go find some YouTube videos of Don Gaetz. He's a character. He is such a character. I wanted to ask before we get to the book stuff, and maybe there's nothing here, but I'm intrigued by this theory. So Mike Waltz was in this Madhouse, and he was kind of one of the more normal characters.
Mm-hmm.
I forget who I had on. Who was it? Oh, Tom Malinowski. I had Tom Malinowski on, and he was talking about how fucking pissed and disappointed he is with Waltz, and because he was like the one that he thought was a responsible one on national security, and like here he is now at the center of this tornado, around the Houthi small group chat. And I think part of the reason that he is like advancing the preposterous crazy about how Goldberg might have hacked him, etc., is because like he knows that he has to try really hard to fit in. And I wonder if you have any thoughts about Waltz, or just broadly if you kind of observed this like kind of trend of the people who are more normal and aren't preternaturally MAGA feeling like they have to kind of really go overboard to fit in.
That's a good question. I mean, Waltz, I didn't cover him. He's not a character in the book, but there's two kinds of Republicans in Congress. Like there's those who were kind of the more responsible streak, and most of those people left. And those who stayed, have made the decision that they want to rise and have power in this tribal party, and that means going all in with Trump, basically. There's not a lot of room for breaking with him. So Mike Waltz got chosen to be the national security advisor, and now, has to completely toe the party line. We see different, so if you're still there, you are towing one line, which is, attacking the mainstream media, attacking Jeff Goldberg for sneaking onto the chat. And we see them do it in different ways. Like there's Elise Stefanik is a character in the book who, has become emblematic to a lot of people of like, she's been the future of the party since it was George W. Bush's party. She's still the future of the party. She just completely transformed herself to be the future of the Trump party. And then there's like a Nancy Mace who criticized Trump after January 6th in her first floor speech, who told me in the summer of 2023, if Trump becomes the nominee, I am pulling myself down from the airwaves. I will just disappear. That clearly didn't happen. And who, like at one point a few years ago, looked like kind of like a unicorn. Like she beat a Trump back challenger. She was sort of moderate on social issues. And that, like, she talked a lot to us for the book and like literally said the quiet part out loud, being like, I have some really tough decisions to make. I want to move up and I can't do that and be anti-Trump. So I'd say Mike Waltz is like, yes, he knows he's in the you should know better caucus. But there's only one playbook, which is what he's doing.
Yeah, no. So there's almost like this. They said that the only Nixon could go to China, right? Because if a liberal did, they would have been, called a communist. Mm-hmm. There's almost like this element of this that the people who are OG MAGA have like a little bit more rope to kind of be responsible, and like the old kind of Republicans have to act like crazy.
The zeal, right? The zeal of the converted, right? Yeah. Like they have to. Yeah, some of these people, like Jim Jordan, has 10, like he's a made man in MAGA world. You don't see Jim Jordan trotting to the courthouse to stand outside the federal courthouse to show Trump how loyal he is. Like he does not have to prove himself. Some of the others do.
Let's talk about Mace a little bit more, because I thought this segment of the book was was the one that gave me a chuckle. So she really did, and we talked about this at the time here at the Bulwark. It just was kind of obvious that like she thought that she could be VP, and she
which is
was
crazy to me because she had approximately 0% chance of ever being VP. Like, Elise Stefanik, yeah, not likely, but not a 0% chance. Nancy Mace, after she had, criticized Trump after January 6th, like a 0% chance.
But it shows like how intentional all this stuff is, right? Like the pivot of these people. Like she fully, she went from saying that, oh, if he's a nominee, I'm gonna be out, to basically saying, okay, I'm gonna completely reorient my media strategy to go on shows in the hopes that Trump sees me,
Yes,
in the hopes that, I don't know, he likes my smile and I get to be VP.
Yeah. So, like, I spent a ton of time with her for the book, kind of just embedded with her a little bit. And what happened was, it was like the summer of 2023. Her name had been floated in a political article about like a short list for Trump's VP. And her mind just went, I was in the office with her when she like read this story, and I could watch like the dollar signs in the eyeballs almost. Like her mind was off to the races, like that this could be a potential, I was like, I could see her picturing possibly like first woman president in the mirror. So what I witnessed is like and she was like kind of open and talking it out loud. And I witnessed like the justification that so many people make, which is like, well, adults in the room, it's better if I'm there than I'm not there. But it was like a little delusional because, as I said, that she was not on any actual short list for VP.
Ever. Did she ever break character when you're in? I mean, like it does feel like she has a new character. As you read in the book, she's got a bunch of tattoos now.
Okay, so the Nancy Mace, yes, she became a different person, and I don't fully grasp what happened to her around the speaker's vote, and a horrible breakup, like that sounds very traumatic. But she got 9 tattoos all over her body, and the funny thing about the tattoos is that when I told this anecdote to some other people in Trump world, this just shows you how petty this world is and how it's all about like, I told this anecdote to a few people who don't like Mace, and they were so excited to tell Trump because they said Trump hates tattoos. I can't wait to tell Trump. Like it's all about like, oh, this was Nancy Mace's tattoos were leverage to use against her standing with Trump because he doesn't like tattoos. I mean, that was like fascinating to me.
This was our what? Y'all, it's a crazy world out there. Secretary of Defense might be texting strangers about the details of weapon system attacks on foreign countries. And, when things are shaky, it's important to have a plan in your personal life. Bring stability where you can have it. A good way to start that is creating a trust and will. That's why today's sponsor, Trust and Will, makes creating your will easy and time efficient. You can keep your family prepared and protected by managing your will or trust online. Each will or trust is state-specific, legally valid, and customized to your needs. You can ensure your families and loved ones avoid lengthy, expensive legal proceedings or the state deciding what happens to your assets. Their simple step-by-step process guides you from start to finish, one question at a time. You can save loved ones time and stress by having all your documents in one place with bank-level encryption. Live customer support is available through phone, chat, and email. Uncomplicate the process with Trust and Will. Protect what matters most in minutes at trustandwill.com/bulwark and get 10% off plus free shipping. That's 10% off and free shipping at trustandwill.com/bulwark. Hey, YouTube fam, if you want to support the Bulwark, the best way to do it is by becoming a YouTube Bulwark Plus member. The Bulwark is truly independent. We have no corporate overlords. We're not settling any dumb lawsuits with Trump. By joining, you help support our work, and you can get a bunch of perks right here on this platform. Ad-free content, bonus videos, live streams, and some emojis of me, which I guess some people want. So come join, come hang out, become a Bulwark YouTube Plus member, and I'll be seeing you in the comments. So behave. the Democrats that you talked to, like, have you just noticed, and you've been covering this for a while, just an evolution from, I feel like during the first Trump, there was a lot of like, oh, we can work with these guys behind the scenes. They're very rational. Like, they just have to do this, and we're gonna, et cetera, et cetera. I feel like that has kind of changed, right? I
It
mean,
has changed. I mean, look, at the leadership level, Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, and Hakeem Jeffries, the minority leader, actually came in with a great relationship. They are both men of faith. They both have, they just
both
found a
kind of
lot
corny.
It's corny, but they found a lot in common, and they actually like trusted each other and liked each other. And then that relationship is sort of broken. As you recall, in the Congress that we wrote about in the book, Democrats actually saved Mike Johnson's job when Marjorie Taylor Greene was going to oust him because he brought a bill to send money to Ukraine to the House floor. So there was, like, actually behind the scenes, they were working together. They felt like they could be honest with each other. And that sort of broke down over the Trump's budget resolution, which Jeffries and Johnson negotiated together, and then Trump just, like, it became clear to Jeffries that there's really no point.
The one from during the lame duck.
Yes, the lame duck. That there's really Johnson can't stand by his word because Trump is in control. So, like, there's really no point in negotiating with Johnson when it just all fell apart. So there's like the idea that they can work behind the scenes and work together kind of has fallen apart with Trump, because it's clear that Johnson doesn't actually have any power or control over his members. It's all just related to Trump's control.
Yeah. Maybe even a little bit different on the Senate side, I guess. Well, Chuck Schumer might be the exception to what I'm saying. Given that what you said, what you said in your book, about him, like, thinking that Trump fever could break. Usually there's all this reporting about Chuck talking about in the gym how I talk to Republicans.
Yeah.
Maybe a little different over there. I don't know.
I mean, look, that's a very old school. The Senate is a little more still like that. It's collegial. There's only 100 of them. A lot of them have been around forever and do have these, like, the senators love to do funny pairings on legislation, like Elizabeth Warren and J.D. Vance on, like, clawbacks for banks, and Fetterman and Cruz on a bill together. Like, they do these, they do like to do bipartisan legislation. But Schumer's view, which he articulated to us many times, so it's like a deeply felt view of his, is just that Trump is an evil sorcerer. That was his quote. Who is a, quote, turd that the Republican Party will reject, and then it will revert to being the old Republican Party. And, like, I was driving around Brooklyn with him at one point, and he was like, it was after the border security deal fell through in the Senate. That was like the border security and Ukraine funding deal together that fell apart because Trump killed it. Chuck Schumer was like, look, there's 10 senators that actually hate Ukraine and would vote that way anyway. And then there's the rest that, without Trump, they would flip and want to support Ukraine. And his hope was that, like, this flip would happen. And I think that's out of touch with where Democratic voters are and where a lot of his caucus is at this point. Like, most Democrats and voters have come around to the idea that, like, MAGA is bigger than Trump. There's no reverting. Like, there's really no evidence that anything is going back.
Yeah, that's correct. Actually, it's out of touch with reality. I mean, it's also out of touch with where Democratic voters are, but it's just out of touch with reality. I mean, just look at what happened in the primary.
So I don't know. I mean, maybe Schumer's saying that because, like, that's what he would like to happen, and it's like wishful thinking, but it's not. It's out of touch with reality.
I wonder what you make of the upcoming Congress. On one hand, and the one we're in, but the one hand, like, they haven't done anything, and they've done literally nothing. On the other hand, we haven't seen the unruliness, that you write about in this book, at least yet. And, again, maybe that's just because, like, the rubber hasn't really met the road on anything yet. I mean, like, the Trump is just legislating from the executive branch like a wannabe king. And, like, there hasn't been any major legislation passed really. But what do you make of that? Like, are the things you observed in the books, there under the surface? You think Trump's like kind of holding it together tenuously, or do you think maybe because Trump's in there, they might, these your man with rats in the walls and all these car salesmen might behave for a couple of years? What do you make of it?
Yeah, last Congress was a complete shit show, as one person even told Don Bacon told us we should name our book "Shit Show," but you can't really promote a book with a curse word in the title, so we didn't. But it was just completely defined by Republicans feuding with each other, and it literally ground the floor to a halt. This time, Trump is sort of uniting them. For instance, the short-term government funding bill that just passed the House unanimously, one Republican, Thomas Massey, who's just his own person, voted for it. This is literally the same kind of short-term spending bill that they hate so much that they ousted Kevin McCarthy because of it. And now Trump told them that he wants it, so they fall in line. So they are more united right now because of Trump. He is holding it together. And no one wants to cross him. And no one, his power over the party is near total. So there's really no room to end. So they are more together. I'd say the top line out of this Congress so far is that they've just ceded their power completely to the White House. In this Jeff Goldberg group chat story, the Congress is part of this story. They confirmed Pete Hegseth to be defense secretary. They have some responsibility here for what's happening because they have, completely happily just handed over the power to Trump.
Well, not to be Justin Amash over here, but also, we haven't declared war on Yemen, so Congress also could take some power back on that side of things as well. They don't really seem to care about that.
Yeah.
All right, Annie, it's good to see you. It's been too long. Go check out the book, Madhouse: How Donald Trump, MAGA Mean Girls, Matt Gaetz, other people broke Congress.
Thanks, Tim.
We'll see you soon, girl.
Bye.